Hey, it's Sarah. Okay, so first of all, I'm not naked. I have my green sundress on, so I just want to make that very clear that I'm not topless. Okay, so I'm so exhausted, but I really want to make this video tonight while I'm still like really excited and everything is fresh. It is now 9:30 at night. We left the house at 10:30 this morning, 11 o'clock. So we've been gone for, over 10 hours. And if you follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is inspired by Sara, which is Sara, no H. You see what we drove home, and I want to tell you the story behind that. So, it really starts a few months ago. Actually, it starts 3 years ago. I got my first car right after my husband and I got married, and we got a Mariner, and I was really stupid, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and we ended up upside down on a loan, owing more on the car than what it was worth, and it just had technical problems, like a lot. And with all the traveling that we did, it was a pre-owned vehicle, so it didn't have an extended warranty, and literally the warranty was just done, and then all of these problems started to happen, and I ended up in a hydro tornado in Kansas where the flooding was literally up to my hood and right underneath of the like under the window of the car. We literally should have died that day. Anyways, so that like totally screwed with my car, and the alternator went out, and we think that's when something like water damage got into the electronic components, because ever since then, like the sunroof, the window locks, the whole car would just go like vroom when you're driving, and the dash lights and everything would just dim, and it's like it would coast for a while. So I knew, that we needed a new car. We just didn't know when. And my husband had finally paid off his car, and I'm making enough money now with working from home, doing this crazy wrap thing. So we started looking at a new car, especially with all the traveling that I'm going to be doing for business and starting up team members. I'm really excited. And but my Mariner has been I've totaled up the gas receipts from when I went to Pittsburgh and back to the First Steps to Success, which, by the way, I'm going again in July. I got 19 miles per gallon. That is terrible. It's awful. I might as well have driven my husband's Chevy Silverado truck. So we know that we've been looking for, a new car. So we started avidly 2 months ago, like stopping at some dealerships and whatever, and it just wasn't right. Like, it just did not feel right. My husband and I both, we were like, yeah, we just shouldn't get a car right now. It's not the right time. You know how you get that feeling? Anyway, so about 2 weeks ago, I was doing a reading on Joseph when he, got sold and was a slave and then was in prison. Yes, I'm referring to a biblical story, so if that offends you, turn the freaking camera off right now. I don't really care because I talk about that. I won't be like in your face like, oh, I love Jesus, I'm going to show up at your doorstep with a Bible. No, I'm not going to do that, but if you're still watching this, I'm going to go on a tiny off rant. I believe everybody has their rights to believe and have their own opinions. I have the right to my opinions, and I do not like religion. I don't like labels, but I believe in Jesus, because all of the people who tried to prove the Bible wrong ended up turning into Jesus believers, which to me is hilarious. Case for Faith and The Case for Christ. Those two books are amazing. Anyways, so, it really drives me crazy when everyone's like, we have the right to our own beliefs, and yet they try to, like, shove atheism down your throat. That drives me nuts. Just, everybody just shut up and get along. Anyway, so 2 weeks ago, I was reading a story about Joseph and, when he was in jail, and then the winemaker and the bread maker, or the baker guy, had some dreams, and I was like, oh, that is so cool that God like communicates with you through dreams or whatever. So then I was like, dear God, I really want a new car. I just don't know if it's the right time. So maybe if you could just like give me a sign or let me know in my dream or something. And I woke up the next morning, honestly, feeling pretty disappointed that I didn't have any prophetic dreams. So I was kind of like, bummer. And then my husband came downstairs and was Now, mind you, my husband never remembers his dreams. So he came downstairs and he was like, I just had a really weird dream last night. And I'm like, really? I was all ears, man. I'm like, uh-huh. And he said that we were going to a marriage counseling thing or like a seminar or something, but I was driving a new car. It looked like a Ford Fiesta, but it wasn't a Ford Fiesta. And I was like, okay. So last week I went to the dealership and I started looking at some new cars. Anyway, so what had happened 2 months ago then when we left the dealership was we told the gal to, I was like, the car has, I crunch numbers. I'm obsessed with being exact and having exact numbers. I was like, the car has to get 47 miles per gallon or better in order to fit our needs. I'm like, because in order, for the monthly payments, I figured out how much Rob drives to work and back. So I figured out literally the exact mile per gallon that we needed. It had to be 47 mile per gallon or better, which was like a Prius or what I thought was a Ford Fusion. And I was like, so if you get any Ford Fusion hybrids in, give me a call. So she called me last week, and I went in and I test drove the Fusion hybrid, and I was like, yeah, but I loved the car, don't get me wrong. I loved the mile per gallon on it, but it just did not feel right. And like I couldn't see out the back or whatever. So then we get back to the dealership and she's like, you know what? I think we have this other car in stock. It's called a C-Max hybrid. I think we just got it in. Let me go check. So she comes out and I'd never heard of a C-Max hybrid. I was like, okay. I go over. It looks just like a Ford Fiesta, which to me that was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy because that's what my husband had a dream about. Well, anyway, so this was last weekend. We test drove it, well, on Friday or Thursday or Friday. So we came in today, and I was just kind of like second guessing it. Like, yeah, I don't know if we can afford it right now. Is it a smart decision? Because I'm going to be traveling so much. We were upside down on our loan. We owe more than what the car was worth. My Mariner blue booked at $4,500, okay? And I'm like, we owe like so much more because I made a stupid decision. Our interest rate had gone up. Anyway, so we get there today, and I was just expecting not to get a car, so I hadn't cleaned it out. I have slushy, slurpy stains on my seats. It's not vacuumed, everything. So we're sitting there doing some paperwork, and first of all, my husband just bought a boat. I have terrible credit just because of things that have happened, student loans, whatever. My credit's awful, so I wasn't even on there. It was just my husband. He got approved, which to me was insane. He should, number one, he should not have even gotten approved today. Let me just put it that way. And so then I was like, weird. She's like, and while you're here, let me just appraise your car. And I was like, my car is not clean. I've got Cheerios probably. I'm like, it looks awful. I'm like, you do not want to appraise it right now. I didn't even steam clean the seats, vacuum it, nothing. And the car was dirty. We've got pollen, mud. We live in the middle of nowhere. She's like, don't, just let us appraise it right now. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, go ahead. So 15 minutes later, the guy comes back in. And mind you, I already knew what my car was appraised at, like $4,500. So we would have my car have paid off in, January, and then we still would have been in the hole even if we sold my car in January after we paid it off. So he comes back, he gives me the appraisal, and at first when I looked at it, I thought it was like 900, and I was like, oh hell no, like I'm not stupid. And then I look again, there's another zero on it, and I'm like, are you sure about that? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, but my car? I'm like, are you serious right now? And she looks at me, she goes, why? Is there something we should know about your car? Let me tell you this about my car. I don't even know where to begin. First of all, I was redlined on gas because I had not been prepared today. I came in like just expecting to, maybe do some paperwork, maybe even see if we got approved, which we pretty much should not have even gotten approved today because we did the application online and it did not approve us. So I was like, whatever, but I didn't want to stand her up because she is so sweet, that she's just a really, really great woman. Not even saleswoman, just in general, wonderful, amazing. So we went in today. My Mariner, like, it needs new tires. It needs an oil change. It needed gas. It was literally like 96 miles away from needing that. There's some kind of flush you have to have, and the whole process was going to cost us like $575 to do on the car, because we had just taken it in at our last oil change, and he's like, you really need to have this done. It is recommended by the Ford company. He's like, so, so that would have had to be done. The tires, everything else. So don't ask me how, but my car got appraised for $9,000, and I was like, what? So that was crazy. So then that was, I had just dropped the paperwork off at lunch, and we came back at night with my husband, and we were sitting down in the finance department, and our monthly payments, we wanted to keep it about the same, and we sat down with the finance departments, and we were thinking our payments were going to be ridiculous. Number one, we got approved. Number two, we had no money down. Hey, babe. I'm doing a video. We had no money down, so I was like freaking out. You freak me out. Don't look at him. He's in his skivvies. So we had no money down, and it was just crazy. So we're only paying, well, what do we do? Anyway, so first of all, we got approved. Second of all, we didn't have any money down today, like none, that was insane. And our interest rate right now is half of what my old car was at. The Mariner was at half, and it's fixed. So that was crazy. We couldn't believe that. Our rate is like 4.4% fixed. And they gave us, hold on, I'm almost finished. And they gave us, what the heck else did we get? Oh, yeah, we got like some kind of all-together package, where it was an extended warranty and some other stuff and gap insurance. So we are only paying like less than $100 more than what our payments were before, and the warranty is for, I want to say, 7 years. And the most craziest part of it all was that it gets 47 miles per gallon, which was exactly what we needed. So it was pretty cool. It's really neat. I'll post the video later. But now hubby and I are going to go watch a movie or something because it's been an extremely long day. So bye. Robert Casimir Miroslav.